Why would a woman who deeply wants you suddenly start acting distant? Why would she ignore your texts, push you away, or even act cold right when things seem to be getting serious? That's what we're breaking down today. Because what most men don't realize is this: when a woman starts pushing you away, it's not always because she's losing interest. Sometimes it's because she's falling harder than she expected, and instead of getting closer, she retreats. Not because she doesn't want you, but because she's terrified of how much she actually does. Sounds backward, right? But this is one of the most overlooked truths in modern relationships, and it's destroying potentially powerful connections every day. Most men take a woman's distance at face value. She stops calling, she must not care. She pulls away emotionally, must mean she's talking to someone else. But here's the twist. What if her pulling away was actually a sign that she's emotionally overwhelmed? A lot of women, especially the ones who've been hurt before or who secretly struggle with vulnerability, will subconsciously test you when things start to feel real. They want you close, but their fear tells them to push. They crave connection, but they've been taught to stay guarded. So when they start to feel themselves wanting you, really wanting you, they panic. This is where most men mess up. They chase, they beg, they demand answers, and that energy only confirms her fears. That closeness equals pressure. That love equals losing control. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why women push away the men they secretly want the most, how to recognize the signs and what to do instead of reacting emotionally. Because if you can understand this behavior for what it really is, you'll stop getting caught in the confusion and start handling it like a man who actually knows what he's doing. Number 1. She fears losing control. When a woman starts developing real feelings for you, feelings she can't fully explain or manage, something unexpected often kicks in. Fear. Not fear of you, but fear of losing control over herself. The moment she senses that you matter more than she expected, her instinct might be to back away. You have to understand, many women have been conditioned to protect themselves emotionally. They've been taught, either by experience or by their environment, that falling too hard makes them weak. So the moment they feel themselves slipping, thinking about you more, caring what you think, wondering if you'll stay, they panic. And instead of leaning in, they pull back. This has nothing to do with you doing something wrong. In fact, sometimes it happens because you're doing everything right. You're being consistent. You're making her feel safe. You're showing up. But all that stability triggers a fear she's been running from, that she might actually get attached. And once that happens, she's no longer in control of her own emotions. To her, control is safety. And when she starts to want you more than she expected, it feels like she's handing you the power to hurt her. That's why she distances herself. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's trying to protect herself from caring even more. Here's something you might have experienced. You're texting a woman, things are flowing, conversations are consistent. She seems invested, and out of nowhere she slows down. Her replies become shorter. She starts taking hours, even days to respond. You wonder what happened. You didn't change. You didn't mess up. But suddenly she's acting like you don't matter anymore. It's confusing, but if you understand this dynamic, it starts to make sense. She's not rejecting you. She's trying to regain her emotional balance by pulling back. She's scared of how deep it's getting, so she reclaims her sense of control by creating distance. Now here's where most men mess it up. They chase. They start questioning her. They show frustration. That only proves to her that she was right to fear this closeness. But a man who understands this will do something different. He won't chase and he won't flinch. He keeps his cool. He holds the same calm energy he had before. And that's exactly what makes her feel safe again. Because once she sees that you're not trying to control her and that you're still solid, Even when she pulls away, she'll come back. Not because you chased, but because you didn't. Number 2. Too much emotion scares. A lot of men think that if a woman has strong feelings for you, that's all that matters. That once she feels love, desire, or even emotional attachment, things will naturally progress. But this is where it gets tricky. Sometimes the stronger her feelings grow, the more unstable she becomes inside. Not because she doesn't want those feelings, but because they scare her. We tend to assume that women are more emotionally open than men, and on the surface that seems true. But underneath, many women actually have less emotional stability than you might expect, especially when the emotions are intense and personal. When it's just flirting or surface-level attention, she's in her comfort zone. But the moment she starts feeling something deeper, she's not in control anymore. And when she's not in control of what she feels, she starts to worry about how much power you now hold over her. Because real emotion means vulnerability. It means she's not just playing the game anymore, she's emotionally invested. And if she's invested, that means she can get hurt. Badly. That kind of emotional risk is terrifying to some women, especially if they've been through heartbreak, betrayal, or have never truly felt safe in a relationship. So instead of embracing the connection, she withdraws. Not because she doesn't feel it, but because she feels it too much. It's a defense mechanism, completely unconscious most of the time. She'll convince herself that she's too busy, or that you're too available, or that something just feels off. But in reality, her emotions are too strong, and she doesn't trust them. And here's the part most men miss. If you respond to that shift by getting emotional yourself, getting anxious, angry, or overly concerned, you only make her emotional storm worse. Because now both of you are in an unstable emotional space. What she needs is your steadiness, not your fear. Men who don't understand this take it personally. They think her pulling back means she never cared. But if you've ever felt a woman fully open up to you, only to suddenly become distant, you know how real this is. It's not fake. It's not manipulation. It's an inner conflict between what she wants and what she's afraid of. What you have to remember is this. The more emotion she feels, the more calm you need to be. That calm isn't coldness, it's leadership. It's what allows her to trust her emotions instead of running from them. Because when you give her a safe space to feel without pressure, panic, or control, she won't fear the emotion. She'll lean into it. And that's when everything shifts. Number 3, she's testing your strength. When a woman starts to care about you deeply, she won't always show it with affection. In fact, sometimes the opposite happens. She pulls away. She goes silent. She becomes distant. And if you don't understand what's really happening, you might think it's over, that she's done with you. But the truth, she's testing you. She wants to see what you're made of when things aren't comfortable. She wants to know if your presence is a mask that slips under pressure. She's watching closely not your words, but how you handle distance, how you handle confusion, how you handle not being in control. This isn't about games, it's about protection. A woman who has been hurt before isn't going to throw her heart into just any situation. Even when she wants you the most, her fear may scream louder than her desire. So she pulls away, not to hurt you, but to see if you chase, to see if you panic, to see if you beg or fold or lose your grip. And most men do. Most men rush in trying to fix it, trying to talk their way back in, trying to demand answers. But the men who pass the test, they don't flinch. They don't react with desperation. They remain still, calm, focused, unbothered. Because a man who truly knows his worth doesn't need to convince anyone to stay. He lets silence speak. He lets space reveal what words cannot. That kind of quiet strength is rare and unforgettable. When she pushes you, she's not always trying to get rid of you. She's trying to find the boundary, the limit. the place where you might snap or change or show a weakness she can't trust. And if she finds none, if you remain grounded through it all, you become something very few men ever do. You become safe. Not safe like predictable, safe like unshakable. And that makes you irresistible. Because women don't remember men who crumbled under pressure. They remember the ones who stood still when everything else was shifting. They remember the man who didn't chase her chaos, who didn't lose himself trying to hold her together. She may not say it out loud, but inside she's thinking, if he can handle me at my most guarded, he can handle me at my most vulnerable. Now let's make one thing clear. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you recognize the difference between emotional sabotage and emotional fear. If a woman is pushing you away because she's testing your value, not attacking your character, you have a choice. You can panic and lose her, or you can anchor yourself, stay rooted in your truth, and let her come back on her own. Because the moment she realizes you're not reacting like all the others, that you're not begging or bending or breaking, her entire perception of you shifts. So don't reach, don't chase, don't try to fix it. Just stay grounded. That's what she's watching for. That's what she's hoping to find. A man who doesn't just want her, but a man who doesn't lose himself when she gets scared. And now I want to hear from you. If you've ever held your ground instead of chasing someone who pulled away, drop this in the comments. I hold my ground. Next, we're going even deeper, because sometimes the push isn't about you at all, it's about a war she's still fighting inside. Stay with me. This gets real. Number 4. Her past trauma is in charge. You're probably wondering why a woman who clearly feels something for you would suddenly shut down, pull away, or act like she doesn't care. The truth is, sometimes, when a woman starts pushing you away, it's not you she's reacting to. It's her past. It's the scars she's collected from moments she trusted too fast, loved too hard, or believed too deeply, only to be let down. That pain doesn't just fade. It lingers, and worse, it begins to take control. Imagine this. Everything's going well. The connection is there, the attraction is undeniable, and for a moment it feels real. But just when she starts to open up, something inside her panics. It's not because of anything you said or did. It's because the last time she let herself feel this way, she got burned. So now, instead of leaning in, she braces for impact. Her body tenses, her tone changes, and you feel her slipping. You start questioning everything. What happened? Where did that warmth go? This is the part most men don't understand. They try to talk her out of it, reassure her, fix what they think is broken. But this isn't something you can fix with words. Her mind has already built a defense system. Her heart is on lockdown. And the one calling the shots now isn't the woman in front of you. It's the version of her that was hurt before you ever showed up. And here's where things get real. If you react with frustration, if you chase or beg or get angry, you confirm her fears. You become just another emotional threat. But if you hold your ground, not cold, not distant, just calm, you send a different message. You show her that you're not here to manipulate her emotions. You're not here to demand access to her vulnerability. You're here to respect it. You see, trauma doesn't disappear on command. It needs safety. And sometimes the only way to offer that safety is to stop trying to win her over. Instead, just let her see you unshaken, honest, and patient. Not passive, not waiting on her decision, but rooted in your own sense of self. That's the thing about strength. It's not loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't try to convince someone to feel ready when they're not. Real strength listens without judgment and stands still while someone else finds the courage to take a step forward. Now, this doesn't mean you tolerate being mistreated. You're not her emotional sponge. There's a line between compassion and self-sacrifice. But when you understand where the pushback is coming from, you stop taking it personally. You realize it's not about whether she likes you, it's about whether she trusts herself enough to love again. She may test you, she may retreat, but every time she does and you remain steady, you're showing her something rare. You're showing her that not all men run when things get complicated, that not every connection needs to be earned with emotional pain. And eventually, if she's ready, she might start trusting that the past doesn't have to predict her future. Now let me ask you, have you ever been in a moment like this? When someone's fear tried to sabotage something real? If you've stood in that silence and stayed grounded, drop this in the comments. I lead with peace. And if this is hitting close to home, don't go anywhere, because coming up next we're going to explore a deeper truth, the reason why some women push love away the moment it feels most intense. And trust me, it's not what you think. Number 5. Closeness feels like danger. Let's talk about something most men never see coming when getting closer to a woman actually makes her back away. You're being honest, consistent, present. You're giving her all the right signals. And for a while she responds. But then, out of nowhere, she pulls back. The texts slow down. Her tone shifts. She becomes distant, cold even. And you're left sitting there wondering, what just happened? Here's the truth for some women. Emotional closeness doesn't feel safe. It feels like danger. And not because of anything you did, but because closeness reminds them of loss, betrayal, disappointment, things they've lived through and never really healed from. So when they start to feel something real, something that could matter, their nervous system doesn't celebrate. It panics. It's like this. Imagine touching a hot stove once and burning your hand. The next time you walk into that kitchen, you don't reach out casually. You flinch. You hesitate. Even if the stove's not hot anymore, your body remembers. That's what emotional closeness feels like to her. It's not the present version of you she's reacting to. It's the memory of the last person who made her feel something, then disappeared or hurt her. So what does she do? She creates space. Not because she wants to leave, but because she doesn't know how to stay. She tells herself, if I don't get too close, I can't get hurt. And so the moment the connection deepens, the wall goes up. Not to shut you out, but to protect herself. And here's the thing, most men think the right move is to chase harder. They lean in more. They try to reassure, explain, fix. But what they don't realize is that the pressure makes things worse. Because for her, intensity equals risk. It feels like losing control. And if her mind associates closeness with pain, the harder you try to pull her in, the more threatened she feels. Now, does this mean you back off completely? Not exactly. What it means is that you stay solid. You don't chase. You don't pull away in anger either. You just remain steady. You create emotional space, but not emotional distance. You show her, without saying it, that connection doesn't have to feel like pressure, that you're not there to trap her or overwhelm her or rush her through something she hasn't figured out yet. Think about it like this. You don't yank a flower open. You create the conditions for it to bloom on its own. If she feels safe, if she feels seen without being forced, she may start to lean back in, but on her terms, in her time. And if she doesn't, then you know it's not about your worth. It's about her readiness. Because no matter how healthy, grounded, or available you are, you can't force someone to feel safe in something they're not prepared for. That has to come from her. Here's what you do. Lead with calm. Set your boundaries. Don't accept mixed signals or emotional whiplash. But don't try to decode every retreat as rejection either. Some women run not because they don't feel something, but because they do, and it terrifies them. So, if you've ever seen closeness scare someone off, if you've ever watched someone walk away right when things got good, drop this in the comments. I don't chase chaos. Let it be a reminder to stay rooted, stay grounded, because when she's finally ready for closeness that doesn't feel like danger, she'll remember the one man who didn't turn love into pressure. And don't go anywhere. Because what we're diving into next is even deeper when a woman's actions say, "Leave me alone," but everything in her energy is still reaching for you. You'll want to hear this. Number 6. She wants reassurance. Here's something most guys miss. When a woman starts acting off cold, distant, or even a little mean, it's not always because she's done with you. Sometimes it's the exact opposite. What she's really doing is fishing for reassurance, but she doesn't know how to ask for it directly. So instead of saying, "Do you still want me?" she acts out. She tests. She pulls back. She waits for you to prove it. Now I get it, that sounds exhausting. But you need to understand where it's coming from. Women, especially the ones who've been hurt, often don't trust words. They trust patterns. They trust energy. They trust consistency. So when something between you shifts, even if it's small, her mind starts asking questions. Is he losing interest? Has he changed his mind? Is he pulling away like the last guy? She won't come out and say it. She'll watch instead. She'll notice how quickly you text back. She'll notice if your tone is different. She'll pick up on the way you touch her or don't. And she'll start pulling away, not to punish you, but to protect herself. Because if you're fading out, she'd rather leave before you do. And here's where most men make the mistake. Instead of grounding the moment, they either get defensive or retreat. They say things like, "Why are you acting like this?" or worse, "If you don't trust me, that's your problem." But all that does is confirm her fear, that she's alone in this, that you don't care enough to even ask what's behind the mood. So what's the move? Stay calm. Don't argue with her feelings. Don't try to logic your way through it. Just hold the space. You say something like, "I sense you're not feeling safe with me right now. That's not what I want. So if I've dropped the ball, I'll own it. And if you just need to hear that I'm here, I'm saying it now." It's not about coddling. It's not about being a pushover. It's about understanding the moment for what it is, a quiet plea for emotional safety. Most women don't want grand gestures. They want small, real signs that say, "I'm not going anywhere." That doesn't mean smother her. That doesn't mean drop everything in your life to prove something. It means in key moments when she's doubting your connection, don't meet her withdrawal with silence. Meet it with presence. The reassurance she's looking for isn't about being needy. It's about being seen. Underneath the tough exterior, behind all the mixed signals, is someone hoping quietly that you won't leave when it gets hard. Someone praying that you're not just another temporary feeling, but a real presence. And here's the kicker. The more grounded you are in moments like these, the less she'll need the reassurance over time, because you're training her nervous system to relax, to feel safe, to stop bracing for the worst. Now, maybe you've already experienced this. Maybe you've had a woman test your patience, confuse you with mixed energy, or go cold just when things were getting close. If that's ever been you, drop it in the comments. I bring calm. Let it be a reminder of who you are. A man who leads with clarity, not chaos, and don't move a muscle. What's coming next will shift the way you see her silence forever. Because sometimes when she says nothing at all, she's actually feeling the most. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Number 7. Your reaction decides everything. Let's be real. When a woman starts pulling away, when she gets distant or cold or starts testing your limits, it's easy to take it personal. Your ego kicks in, you feel rejected, and the urge to react is strong. Maybe you want to chase. Maybe you want to snap, or maybe you just shut down. But what most men don't realize is this: your reaction in that moment says more about your strength than anything else. That's the moment she's watching the closest. Because when things get tense, when emotions are high, and when it feels like the connection is slipping, how you carry yourself right there, that's everything. See, women are incredibly intuitive. They don't just hear your words, they feel your energy. They read your posture. They notice if your voice shakes, if you crumble under pressure. And most of all, they notice if you lose your center just because things didn't go your way. You have to understand something deeper here. In many moments, she's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to see you, the real you. Not the version that's smooth when everything is easy, but the one who still stands strong when things are messy, when she's moody, when she pulls back just to see if you'll lose it. She's not always testing you for fun. She's trying to feel safe with you, and your reaction will tell her if she can. So let's say she hits you with cold energy. Maybe she suddenly stops texting like before. Maybe her tone shifts. Maybe she even picks a fight over something minor. That's the moment to breathe. Don't let your insecurities run the show. Don't fall into panic mode thinking you've lost her. The truth is, you never had to keep her. You only ever had to stay grounded in yourself. When a man panics, chases, over-explains, or begs for connection, it screams insecurity. And that instantly kills attraction. But when a man responds calmly, when he doesn't lose himself in the moment, it does something powerful. It tells her, you're not here for validation. You're here because you choose to be. That's different. And yes, sometimes your calm reaction might not get an immediate reward. She may not smile. She may not thank you. But deep down, you've left a mark. You've shown her a level of emotional maturity she doesn't see often. And that sticks. Now, let's flip the script. What happens if you react emotionally? If you lash out, go silent, or guilt trip her? It only reinforces her worst fear, that she can't trust the connection. That you're just another man who folds under emotional pressure. That your love is conditional, only given when things go your way. So what do you do instead? Simple. You observe without absorbing. You acknowledge without reacting. You lead with emotional steadiness. That doesn't mean you ignore her or become passive. It means you give her space without making it about your ego. You say something like, I notice there's distance right now. I'm not here to force anything. I just want you to know I see it and I'm good either way. That one move, calm acknowledgement, disarms the entire dynamic. It tells her you're emotionally aware but not emotionally dependent. It gives her space while still holding the frame. And most of all, it shows strength. So the next time she tests your energy, remember this: she's not always looking for a perfect answer. She's looking for proof that you're not easily shaken, that you don't need to control the outcome to feel secure, that you can love her without losing yourself. And here's your line to drop in the comments if you've ever faced that pressure and stayed centered. I lead with calm. Say it to remind yourself. Say it to inspire someone else. And don't go anywhere. Because in the next section, we're diving into the one thing that will either make her open up or shut down for good. It's not what you think. But once you get this part right, the whole game changes. Stay with me. Number 8. She craves space, not distance. Here's something that trips a lot of guys up when she asks for space. Most men hear that as rejection. Like she's backing away for good. Like she doesn't want you anymore. But pause for a second. What if she's not trying to leave? What if she's just trying to breathe? See, there's a big difference between space and distance. Space is chosen. It's intentional. It's about protecting personal energy and honoring emotional boundaries. Distance, on the other hand, is disconnection. It's avoidance. It's when people drift because something's broken or because no one is showing up. When a woman says she needs space, she's not always trying to push you out. Often she's trying to pull herself back in, to ground herself, to make sure she's not losing her own identity in the relationship. That doesn't mean she loves you less. It means she's trying to love herself at the same time. Now here's where it gets tricky. Most men respond the wrong way. They panic, they chase, they try to fix something that doesn't need fixing. And in doing that, they violate the very thing she asked for: space. Or they go the opposite way. They take her words personally. Shut down. Withdraw completely. Give her so much space that it turns into cold distance, silence, emotional vacancy. And that backfires too. So how do you respond like a grounded man? You hold the middle. You respect the space she's asking for, but you don't disappear. You don't get cold. You don't punish her with distance. Instead, you remain present without pressure, available but not needy, engaged but not invasive. It sounds subtle, but it's powerful. When you show her that you can give her room without abandoning the connection, you're telling her, I trust you, I trust us, and I don't need constant proximity to know we're solid. That right there builds emotional safety. Let's get deeper for a second. A lot of women have been in situations where space was never allowed, where their emotions were constantly policed, where they felt like they had to explain every little mood shift or justify needing alone time. So now, even in healthy dynamics, they might still carry some of that trauma. When you respond with calm confidence and give her space without guilt-tripping her, you start to rewrite that old narrative in her mind. You show her she can have both love and freedom, closeness and individuality, and that's rare. That's magnetic. She might not say it out loud, but deep down she'll remember how you made her feel. Safe, seen, trusted. She'll feel more drawn to you because you didn't make it about your own insecurity. You made it about honoring her. Now let's talk about timing. Space isn't a permanent thing. It's not the beginning of the end unless you treat it like it is. If you freak out and start pulling back emotionally, acting like she's done something wrong, she'll feel judged, misunderstood. And that space she needed, it becomes distance, and from there, disconnection grows. But if you give her that breathing room and stay grounded, something beautiful happens. She relaxes, she recharges, and when she's ready, she returns with more clarity, more desire, and a deeper sense of respect for you. It's like this. Imagine you're holding water in your hands. If you grip it too tightly, it slips through your fingers. But if you hold it gently with care but no pressure, it stays. That's what space feels like to her. Gentle, supportive, still connected. So next time she says she needs space, don't hear I'm leaving. Hear I'm tending to myself. Don't react from fear. Respond from strength. And here's your call to comment. Drop this line below if you've learned to hold steady when it matters. I respect the space. 3 words that change everything. And don't go anywhere yet. Because up next we're hitting the one moment that flips everything. It's when her heart finally catches up with what her fear tried to run from. Stay close. You don't want to miss it. Number 9. Her body pulls back, her heart leans in. Let's talk about one of the most confusing things a man can experience with a woman. One day she's affectionate, warm, maybe even a little vulnerable. The next, she's distant. Not cold exactly, but there's a shift. She's not texting as much. She's not initiating. She's physically present, but emotionally you can feel the pullback. And it messes with your head, right? But here's what most guys don't realize. Just because her body pulls back doesn't mean her feelings have vanished. In fact, it's often the opposite. Her heart might be leaning in even more. She's just scared of what that means. See, when a woman starts to feel something real deep, intense, possibly overwhelming, her instinct might be to create space, not because she's unsure of you, but because she's unsure of herself. That emotional pull, it threatens her emotional defenses, especially if she's been through pain before, if she's loved someone who let her down, if she gave too much too fast in the past and ended up hurt. Her body remembers that. Her nervous system remembers that. So when she starts to feel close to you, even if it's good, even if it's everything she secretly wants, the alarms go off. That's when the retreat begins. Not because she doesn't care, but because she does. Deeply. And when a woman cares deeply, she becomes vulnerable. And if she doesn't fully trust that vulnerability yet, she'll try to shield it. She'll say she's busy, not sure, just figuring things out. But what she's really doing is checking, can I be safe here? Can I feel this much without losing myself again? This is where your role becomes pivotal. Not to chase, not to beg, not to take her distance personally, but to read between the lines, to understand the silent signal her body is sending. It says, I want this, but I'm afraid of it. Help me feel safe, not smothered. And here's the hard truth: most guys fail this test. They either push too hard, trying to close the space too quickly, or they shut down entirely, thinking she's lost interest. Either way, it confirms her fear that closeness equals pressure or pain. But the man who stands steady, the one who doesn't overreact or withdraw, he gives her a new experience. One where closeness doesn't feel like a threat, where emotional depth doesn't equal emotional chaos. He recognizes that her pullback is temporary and often unconscious, that her heart is leaning in even as her body sends mixed signals. And he holds that space without making it about his ego. That changes everything, because in that space her mind begins to settle, her nervous system calms. She starts to trust what she's feeling instead of fearing it, and slowly she comes back, not out of guilt or pressure, but because you became the place her heart feels safe to land. Let's make this real. Think about the times when you wanted something badly, but it scared you too. A career leap, a deep conversation, a personal truth you weren't sure the world was ready to hear. You wanted it, but you hesitated. You leaned in, but you flinched. Now imagine someone met that hesitation with calm strength and patience, not panic, not rejection. That's what you're doing for her. You're becoming the mirror that shows her a different reality. One where love doesn't always mean loss, where intimacy doesn't have to equal pain. And here's the line I want you to drop in the comments if you've ever stayed grounded when someone pulled away: I hold steady. Let her know that not every man runs when things get quiet, because when her body pulls back and her heart leans in, she's hoping deep down that you're the one who won't flinch. And don't click away just yet, because in the next part we're going to break down what she really needs in those moments. Not flowers, not promises, not grand gestures. Something simpler, something most men overlook. Stick around. You're about to learn the one thing that makes her feel seen. Number 10. She's scared you might be real. Let's end this on a truth that almost no one talks about. A truth that sits deep in the heart of many women. Not just fear of heartbreak, not just fear of abandonment, but fear of something even more disorienting: real love. Because real love, real connection, that's terrifying. You might think, wait, if I'm finally the kind of man she says she wants, calm, grounded, consistent, why would that scare her? And that's a fair question. But here's the paradox: the more real you are, the more she starts to feel everything she's tried to keep buried. See, most women, just like most men, have been hurt, disappointed, let down. They've learned to protect themselves, not just from bad men, but from good ones too. Because when a good man shows up, he messes with the system. He disrupts the defenses. And the part of her that wants to trust starts waking up. That's when panic hits. She's scared you might actually be the one who doesn't leave, the one who sees her, the one who's not playing games. And that scares her more than any red flag ever could. Why? Because if you're real, if this is actually safe, then she has to risk everything to believe in it. And that's a risk that takes more courage than most people admit. She's scared that if she opens up and you're not who you seem, it'll break something deeper in her. Because disappointment from a player is predictable. But disappointment from someone who felt real, that hits different. That kind of pain rewrites trust at the core. So she might push back, test boundaries, get quiet, even start arguments over nothing. Not because she wants to sabotage things, but because part of her is hoping you'll prove her right, that you'll lose patience, lose presence, and turn out to be like the rest. That way she can stay safe in what's familiar, the story that no man ever stays. And this is where your strength has to be deeper than charm. This is where your calm becomes your power. Because what she's really asking under all the noise is this: can I fall and not crash? She needs to know that when she spirals, you won't spin with her. That when her emotions rise, you don't run. That when she's hardest to love, you don't disappear. Now, does that mean you should tolerate disrespect? Of course not. Stoic strength doesn't mean becoming her emotional punching bag. It means standing firm with boundaries, but doing so without punishment, without resentment, just quiet clarity. You show her what safe feels like, not by fixing her, but by being unfazed. That's how she starts to believe you might actually be real. And here's the most important part: you don't do this for her approval. You do it because it's who you are. You don't need her to validate your presence. You're not performing. You're not chasing. You're simply holding steady, because truth doesn't shout. Truth just stands there until it's recognized. That's how you earn her respect. Not just attraction, respect. And when a woman respects you, really respects you, the way she looks at you changes. You become the reference point, the standard, the calm in a world full of chaos. And she'll never forget how that made her feel. So, if you've ever been in that space where a woman pulled away just as things got deep, now you know. It wasn't that you weren't enough. It might be that for the first time in a long time she saw something real, and real scared the hell out of her. Now drop this in the comments if you've ever been that kind of presence. I choose to stay steady. Let it be a reminder, not just to her but to yourself, of the kind of man you've become. If you found value in this, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Want more? Join as a channel member to unlock exclusive content built for men on the path. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.